The collections agent on the phone sounded almost bored. "You're 60 days late on your business loan. We need payment today or we move to the next step." I stared at my phone. "What loan?" "The $150,000 line of credit. Opened in March. Your name, your social security number." My hands went cold. I had never applied for a loan. I didn't own a business, and I sure as hell didn't owe anyone $150,000. But someone had used my name. And when I found out who, the floor dropped out from under me. It was my own parents. They forged my signature, put my entire financial future at risk, all to fund my brother's fantasy. And when I confronted them, they told me to get over it. So I didn't get loud. I got methodical. I had the proof, and I was done protecting them. Where are you watching from, and what time is it there? Drop it below, and hit subscribe, because you're going to want to see how this ends. Let me back up, because this wasn't the first time my brother got whatever he wanted. Growing up, there were 2 rules in my family. 1, my brother could do no wrong. 2, I was expected to understand. When he wrecked his car junior year, Dad bought him a new one. When I graduated with honors, they skipped the ceremony because he had a softball game. When he got a DUI at 22, they paid his bail and his lawyer. $5,000 gone in a weekend. When I asked for help with books my sophomore year of college, Mom said, "You're resourceful. You'll figure it out." So I did. I worked 2 jobs. I graduated debt-free. I built my credit carefully, on purpose. By 25, I had a 780 credit score and $15,000 saved. I kept every bank statement, every tax return, every piece of paper that proved what I'd built. Call it paranoia. Turns out it was survival. Because about 8 months before that phone call, my parents started asking weird questions. "What's your credit score these days? Have you thought about investing in family?" I brushed it off. My brother had some startup idea, software, consulting, something vague. He'd been talking about it for 2 years but never launched. I figured he'd ask me for money eventually. I didn't think they'd just take it. Then the call came. And everything I'd built was suddenly on the line. I called an emergency family dinner the day after the collections call. I walked in with printouts. My parents were already at the table. My brother sat across from them, arms folded. I didn't sit. "Did you take out a loan in my name?" Mom looked at Dad. Dad looked at his plate. My brother sighed. "It's not that simple. Yes or no?" Mom finally spoke. "We co-signed. But your brother needed help, and his credit is shot. So you used mine. We added you as a co-applicant," Dad said. "You make good money. It's not a big deal." I never signed anything. "We handled the paperwork," Mom said. "We thought you'd understand." I stared at her. "You forged my signature." My brother laughed. Actually laughed. "Oh, come on. Don't be dramatic. It's just a loan. I'm building something real here. With my credit." Without asking. "You push paper for a living," he said. "I'm actually trying to create something." I turned to my parents. "This is fraud." Dad's face went red. "Don't you dare use that word. We're family." "Then why didn't you ask me?" Silence. Mom leaned forward. "You need to fix this. Work with your brother. Don't make this ugly." I looked at all 3 of them. "Fix it or what?" Dad's voice was flat. "Or you're not welcome here anymore." I picked up my printouts, and I left. I pulled my credit report that night. The loan was real. $150,000, opened in March, my name, my social security number. 2 payments missed. My score had dropped from 780 to 670 in 60 days. I called the bank the next morning. The rep was polite but firm. "Our records show you signed the application electronically." I didn't. "We have a signed document on file. It's not my signature. You can file a dispute, but that process takes 90 days. In the meantime, the account remains active." 90 days. 2 more missed payments. My credit in free fall. I hung up and sat in my apartment, staring at the loan paperwork. What if I couldn't prove it? What if they'd been careful enough that no one would believe me? I thought about my savings, the house I wanted to buy next year, the job applications I had out, all of which would run credit checks. Everything I'd worked for, gone. I felt powerless. And then I remembered something. I knew my own signature, and I had every document I'd ever signed, going back 7 years. I pulled out my files, and I got to work. I requested a copy of the signed loan application from the bank. It arrived 3 days later. I laid it on my desk next to my real signatures. Tax return from 2 years ago. Lease agreement. Bank account opening from when I was 23. All my signature. Same person, same hand. I looked at the loan application signature. It wasn't even close. The capital letter had the wrong loop. The slant was off. The spacing between letters was uneven. Whoever signed it had tried, but they didn't know the small things. The way I always cross my T's high, the way my lowercase e curls back. I took photos, side by side, real versus forged. It was obvious. They hadn't even practiced. I uploaded both images to my laptop and overlaid them at 50% opacity. The differences jumped out. Any handwriting analyst would call it in 30 seconds. I had my first receipt. But I knew what would happen if I brought just this. They'd claim I gave verbal permission, or that I knew and didn't care, or some other lie to muddy the water. I needed more, and I knew exactly where to look. 2 days later, my brother showed up at my office. I was in a meeting when the receptionist knocked. "Someone's here for you." "Says it's urgent." I stepped into the lobby. He was pacing. "We need to talk." "No, we don't. Just make a few payments," he said. "The business is about to turn around. I just need 3 more months. You forged my name. Mom and Dad handled that. I didn't know they were going to. You're the one spending the money." He stepped closer. People were staring. "If you tank this loan, you tank me. Is that what you want?" I walked back to my office. He didn't follow. But that was just the beginning. That night, my phone exploded. A family group chat I hadn't checked in months. 37 new messages. Aunt Linda. Family helps family. Don't let money divide you. Cousin Greg. Your brother is trying to build something. Be supportive. My mom, in all caps. We raised you better than this. My uncle called. I don't know the whole story, but maybe you could just help out for a few months? I didn't respond. The next morning, I got an email from the bank. The next major payment was due in 10 days, $4,200. If it wasn't paid, the account would be referred to collections and legal action would begin against me. They wanted me to fold, but I was already 3 steps ahead. I filed a formal request with the bank for the loan application metadata. It's not something most people know you can do, but I'd worked in finance long enough to know what to ask for. I wanted the IP address, the timestamp, the device ID. The bank's fraud department sent it over in 4 days. And there it was. The loan application had been submitted on March 14th at 2:14 in the afternoon. From an IP address I didn't recognize, I ran it through a basic lookup tool. It was registered to my parents' home internet provider. Their address. I pulled up my work calendar for March 14th. 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Staff meeting, conference room C. I checked my building access logs. My employer tracked badge swipes. I'd entered the building at 8:43 a.m. and hadn't left until 5:32 p.m. I was in a meeting, 20 miles away, when someone submitted that application. And the signature? It wasn't captured live with a stylus. It was a static image file, a scan, uploaded. I screenshot everything. The IP trace, my work calendar, my badge log, the image file type, receipt number 2. Now I had them. But I still needed to know why they'd been willing to risk this. So I started digging into my brother's so-called business. My brother's business partner had quit 6 months earlier. I found him on LinkedIn and sent a message. We met for coffee. He didn't sugarcoat it. Your brother spent investor money on a leased Range Rover. Said it was for client meetings. There were no clients. What else? High-end office space downtown. $1,100 a month. Espresso machine for the break room. $320. How much did he actually spend on the business? He laughed. Maybe 10%. I thanked him and left. That night, I ran a public record search on my parents' home. They'd taken out a second mortgage 8 months earlier. $180,000. I checked my brother's business bank account filings. They were public record because he'd tried to register as an LLC. Total revenue in 18 months, $4,000. Total expenses, over $200,000. He was in debt. They were in debt, and they'd run out of ways to hide it, so they'd used me. Not as a last resort, as a plan. They thought I'd never fight back. That family loyalty would keep me quiet. They were wrong. I wasn't collateral damage. I was the exit strategy. And now I knew exactly what to do. I booked a consultation with a fraud attorney. I brought everything. The signatures, the IP logs, the work alibi, the business records. He listened. Took notes. Didn't interrupt. When I finished, he leaned back. This is textbook identity theft. You have more evidence than most people bring to trial. What do I do? File a police report. File with the FTC. Send everything to the bank's fraud department with a certified letter. They'll freeze the account and investigate. How long? 2 weeks, maybe 3, and your credit file gets flagged. The loan comes off your record. I filed the police report that afternoon. Case number 8371. I submitted the FTC identity theft affidavit online. I wrote the letter to the bank. 3 pages, every receipt attached. I sent it certified mail, signature required. Then I contacted all 3 credit bureaus and placed fraud alerts on my file. No yelling, no confrontation, just documentation, just the truth. The bank's fraud department called me 48 hours later. We've received your letter and reviewed the evidence. We're opening a formal investigation. The account is frozen effective immediately. What does that mean? No further draws on the credit line. No payments accepted. We'll contact the other parties on record. I thanked her, and I waited. The call started 2 days later. 12 days after I sent the letter, the bank's investigation closed. I got the email at 9:30 in the morning. Subject line, fraud claim resolution. I opened it. After thorough review of the submitted evidence, we have determined that the loan application in question was fraudulent. The account has been removed from your credit profile. Collections activity against you has been terminated. We are pursuing repayment from the verified applicant. I read it 3 times. It was over. 2 hours later, my brother called. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail. What did you do? The bank froze everything. They're saying I committed fraud. You're going to ruin me. I swear I will make you regret this. I saved the voicemail. That night, my parents showed up at my apartment. I didn't open the door. I spoke to them through the video doorbell. My mom's face filled the screen. Open this door right now. No, we need to talk about what you did. You committed fraud, I said. I reported it. That's all there is to say. My dad stepped into view. You're destroying this family over money. You destroyed my credit over your golden child. I fixed it. We're your parents. And you forged my signature. You put $150,000 of debt in my name. Without asking. My mom started crying. We were just trying to help him. By stealing from me. My dad's voice shifted. Threatening. If you don't fix this, if you contact me again, I'll file for a restraining order. Leave. I ended the call. They stood there for another 2 minutes. Then they left. 3 days later, I got a letter from the bank's collections department. It wasn't addressed to me. It was forwarded by mistake. It was addressed to my parents. You are now liable for the outstanding balance of $150,000. Payment arrangements must be made within 30 days. I also received my updated credit report. The loan was gone. Completely removed. My score started climbing again. 712 after 30 days. It was over. I went no contact. Blocked their numbers. Left the family group chat. Changed my address with the post office so nothing could be forwarded. A few relatives reached out quietly. My aunt on my dad's side sent a text. I heard what happened. I'm sorry. You did the right thing. My cousin called. I always knew they treated you differently. I'm glad you got out. But most of the family stayed quiet. Or they believed my parents' version. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I just moved forward. 6 months later, my credit score hit 762. A year after that, I bought my first home. The mortgage officer looked at my file and smiled. You have excellent credit. This should be straightforward. Ironically, it was the exact thing the forged loan would have destroyed. I closed on the house in October. All cash offer, no complications. I didn't invite my family to the housewarming. My brother's business folded 4 months after the loan was frozen. He moved back in with my parents. They're still stuck with the debt. And the second mortgage, I didn't push for criminal charges. I could have. The prosecutor said I had enough evidence. But I didn't need revenge. I needed my life back. And I got it. Some relatives still think I was cold. That I should have forgiven them. But forgiveness doesn't mean letting someone destroy you. And family isn't permission to commit fraud. I built a new circle. Friends who respect boundaries. People who ask before they take. I sleep better now than I have in years. Because I learned something important. Protecting yourself isn't selfish. And you don't owe loyalty to people who see you as a resource. So here's my question for you. Have you ever had someone try to use your name, your credit, or your reputation without asking? What did you do? Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one. And if this video helped you spot the red flags or gave you the courage to set a boundary, hit subscribe. There are more stories coming, and you're going to want to see them. One last thing. This story is a fictionalized dramatization based on real experiences. It is not legal or financial advice. If you're facing fraud or identity theft, consult a licensed attorney and report it to the proper authorities. But know this, you have more power than you think. And the truth, backed by receipts, is stronger than any lie. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.